Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Wrap, brought to you by Michigan Medicine Headlines. I'm Dan Ellman with the Department of Communication.
And I'm Dan's second favorite co-host, Hunter Mitchell. Today's episode will be filled with gratitude as we discuss the Thank Blue Project, an initiative run by 4 undergraduates at U of M, whose goal is to collect 1,000 thank you messages aimed at Michigan Medicine faculty and staff.
Before we welcome 2 of those students, be sure to get caught up on any episode of The Wrap you may have missed. You can find shows on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any other podcast hosting platform. Episodes can also be found on the Michigan Medicine YouTube channel.
Now with that, let's bring in Brendan Dolan and Omar Hassan, 2 Michigan students and members of the Thank Blue team. Brendan and Omar, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, now first, can you explain what Thank Blue is and how it came about?
Yeah, so Omar and I, and then our 2 other partners, were putting a class together this semester. And at the beginning of the class, our teacher gave us a very open-ended prompt to do something epic, is what he said. And so we had this whole semester to really work on either a business or a project, really whatever we wanted. And so we decided that it would be a great idea to try to give back to the healthcare workers at the University of Michigan. Because we know that they've been through a lot and they've been really working hard over the past 13 months now to keep us all safe during the pandemic. And we kind of realized that nothing had been done on behalf of the undergraduate students to show our thanks for those healthcare workers. So that's kind of where the idea started, and then it really kind of blossomed from there.
So why did you focus on gratitude toward healthcare workers as your class project? Were you each drawn to it personally?
Yeah, so actually, I think it was Brendan who came up with the idea initially, when we were discussing what our project should be, what the idea is. And he came up with this idea of, we want to show gratitude towards healthcare workers. And everyone just gravitated towards that instantly. And I know for me personally, and I know Brendan as well, we're both on the pre-med track. We want to become in the future, we want to become doctors. And so it was something that sort of related to us really, really on a deep level. And then for me, especially, I come from a family almost entirely of doctors and physicians. And throughout the entire pandemic, I've seen them all go in and make sacrifices every single day to be able to give the best care that they could possibly give. And the best part about it is them and so many other people have all done that, but they've done that with smiles on their faces. They're going through physical and emotional tolls, but every single day in and day out, they're coming back with a smile and really just putting every ounce of effort that they have. And I hope I speak for Brendan here when we say that we hope that someday we can be able to give that sacrifice and do so in the same way that all the other physicians are doing so right now. And so it just related to, me on a very personal level because of my family and whatnot. And, I'm sure more to Brendan too.
Yeah, and I just want to add in too that we definitely acknowledge that this thank you message is for not just doctors and nurses, but everyone that works at the hospital who has been able to kind of keep the glue together over the last 13 months. So this is really for everyone associated with Michigan Medicine.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And, there was a headline story about it this week, and it was really cool reading sort of the personal reasons why all 4 of you got into it, whether it was that you're on a pre-med track or you have family members, who are in the profession. I think everyone sort of had that personal connection. And so I thank you for sharing that connection. Now, I know your team is in the midst of a 10-day 1,000 message challenge. So how did you pick the number 1,000 as your goal, and what's sort of the update about how close you are to meeting it?
Yeah, so the challenge was actually an idea of Deanna Norris, who we're working with closely over at Michigan Medicine to kind of help us market our project. And our original goal was to have 1,000 messages. That was kind of our goal to start the project. And we thought it would be a great way to kind of close out our project to have that goal and to really push to meet those 1,000 messages. And the reason we kind of settled on that number is because the 1,000 messages will really fill our display nicely, and it'll really make it look nice in the courtyard at the hospital.
That's great. So how can our listeners send a thank you message in to be included with this project?
Yeah, so for any listeners who want to send a thank you, they can do so with the link to our website, which will be in the description below. And also for any listeners who use social media, we do have an Instagram page that also houses the link. And you can go right onto the website and fill out the form of nominate a healthcare worker. And it can be anyone. Right when we started this project, we thought about having undergraduates send their thank yous and appreciation to the healthcare workers. But then as we went along, we said, why does it just have to be students? It can be anybody, community members, colleagues, patients, and really anybody in the community who wants to give that thanks. So any listener can. And not only can you just send a thank you message, but you can also nominate a healthcare worker. There definitely have been patients who have had a really deep personal connections to specific physicians or healthcare workers, even as Brenda said earlier, just people working in the hospital. And so you want to nominate them, you are more than welcome to, put a picture up and a little description as to why.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, once the challenge closes, what sort of is the next step in the process? I think you teased it a little bit by mentioning the courtyard at University Hospital. Can you explain a little bit more about what will happen with these messages and how people will be able to find them?
Yeah, definitely. So after the challenge closes, we're going to work to kind of finish our display. We already have been working on it. We have a pretty good structure of it right now. But when we close the messages, we'll work on filling the display. And then on April 15th, we are going to reveal our display in the hospital on the second story courtyard. And we'll have signs and everything outside on the windows to kind of explain what's going on and what the display is. We'll also have QR codes so people can check out our website and read the messages on the website. So yeah, we're really excited. And for anyone who works in the hospital, feel free to kind of like take pictures with the display, post it on social media, and interact with it however you feel.
Yeah, and just to add another thing to that, as Brendan touched on a little bit, but anyone who can't see the messages in the hospital or just won't be there at any time, we on our website, we have the messages sort of running about, and we also have a separate tab that you can go and look through every single message, and also looking at the nominations for healthcare heroes.
Well, I know your project is about sending thanks to healthcare workers, but we wanted to thank you two for helping organize it and joining us on the wrap to talk about Thank Blue and the work that you're both doing.
Yeah, thank you very much. We really appreciate you guys having us and giving us the platform to spread this gratitude.
Absolutely. Well, good luck with your project. If you want to learn more about the Thank Blue campaign, check out this week's story at mmheadlines.org. That's mmheadlines.org.
And while you're there, there was a ton of other featured stories this week. For instance, readers learned how clear masks are helping patients and providers maintain a strong connection. The newsletter published its first ever employee reading list. Michigan Medicine launched a new branding campaign. And there's a rundown of the teamwork that has gone into the organization's COVID-19 vaccination efforts. Find all that and much more at mmheadlines.org.
All right, Hunter, there was a lot going on at Headlines, but there was also a lot going on in the world of sports this week, which is a big part of my life. From opening day in baseball to the Final Four this weekend, sadly without Michigan, NHL and NBA are also in the middle of their seasons. So I want to know, do you consider yourself a sports fan? And if not, what are some of your favorite hobbies?
Well, Dan, I do not. I played sports in high school a little bit, but I just don't follow it. I can't keep up with it. I'll watch it if it's on, but yeah, I just can't. Some hobbies that I have though, I like, hunting. I guess that's kind of a sport, maybe. I can't not hunt with the name like Hunter. I feel like I'd be made fun of.
That's true.
So, but yeah, and honestly, another hobby I have, I love just fixing like tech stuff. I'm kind of a dork, so like. People give me computers, I like just taking them apart, and I want to get into soldering and stuff like that. So, yeah. What about you?
That's awesome. Yeah, well, my one main hobby is sports. As my wife will be able to tell you, all I do is watch sports. So I do love doing that, and baseball is my number one sport. So this week with opening day, I'm sort of in my glory here and excited for the season to go. And it's been now 2 years since we had a full season. So it's exciting, but I really do also get into college football, college basketball, watching Michigan men's and women's basketball over the past couple weeks in the NCAA tournament was really some awesome basketball and some good fun to watch. So yeah, that would be by far and away my favorite hobby.
Yeah, that's exciting. I totally, obviously not being a sports fan, I missed that we didn't have too many sports last year. So I'm sure it's exciting now that things are finally kind of ramping back up. But well, awesome. It's time for the weekly trivia contest. Last week, we asked listeners, how many U of M medical students learned about their residency destination on match day? The answer was 169. Congratulations to Raphael Henderson, who sent in the correct answer. Raphael, a member of the Department of Communication, will be in touch shortly to help you claim your prize. Now for this week's question, here's Dan.
All right, this week's question is, what is the name of the new branding campaign at Michigan Medicine? Hunter, I know you know the answer, so you are not eligible for the prize. Once again, what is the name of the new branding campaign at Michigan Medicine? You could find the answer in this week's headline story, and once you know it, send it to headlines@med.umich.edu for the chance to win a prize. And just a sneak peek for our listeners, you'll learn even more about the new brand campaign on next week's episode of The Wrap, so you won't want to miss that.
That's all the time we have for today. Brendan and Omar, thanks again for joining us, and thank you to all our listeners and viewers for everything you do for patients, families, and each other.
We'll see you next week.